There's been such a high demand for OP builds for different roles that we decided to make a format that comes more often, but covers every single role so every single one of you has something from every single video. Not only this, but Riot reached out to us to give away free skin codes just for you guys. So if you want one of these skins, just watch the video, we hide one of these keys in here in multiple videos now, and just get your free skin. However, you have to be really fast or otherwise somebody else is going to yoink it right in front of your face. And now let's start with the video. First we have Vladimir. Vladimir has been hit by quite a lot of nerfs and therefore his build slightly changed, so you can't go full bomber mode anymore. Now you have to go for Lucidity Boots as a rush, then into Riftmaker, Rabadon's Death Cap, Void Staff, Infinity Orb, Awakened Soul Stealer, and depending on the matchup, Zhonya's Hourglass, or rather Stasis, and Quicksilver. And for your runes, you want Phase Rush, Nullifying Orb, Bone Plating, and Overgrowth paired up with Giant Slayer. The reason you want to go for these runes and these items is the ability haste you gain from early Lucidity Boots. With the nerfs to Vladimir's damage, you need to hit more often to deal the same damage. Next to this, Riftmaker is just a very powerful item simply because it features multiple things you want to have. Ability haste, HP, AP, and obviously even more damage with your true damage bonus. And obviously it has Omnivamp on top, which is just free, you know. On top of this, you're able to start with a Ruby Crystal, which makes many matchups so much easier to play because you have 150 HP extra you can just use for fun. And thinking about this to make it even more difficult for enemies to kill you, the Resolve First tree will just carry you through laning in combination with your Ruby Crystal, and you will take over the game on 1 to 2 items with absolute ease. Many of you have seen my Bruiser Kha'Zix build and are very curious as to how I deal so much damage and how I'm so tanky, etc, etc. Kha'Zix with this build is all about survivability, scaling, and learning about your power spikes. The first lesson I'm going to give you is about your jungle clear. Fully clearing your jungle will allow you to get your Gluttonous Greaves, and then upon a reset, you can invade the enemy jungle, or go for the Scuttle Crab if it's still alive, or wait for your Grom to respawn while you shadow your laner. Once you're level 5 when this happens, which you then get passively over time, you have your boots, which grant you a lot of AD, Omnivamp, as well as your first abilities evolve. With this, in combination with Bloodline, you have so much sustain during a fight and it's very difficult for the enemy to kill you. If you happen to run Conqueror on top, things get really dicey for the enemy, and otherwise it's just First Strike. But now let's talk about the other items. Your first item is going to be Yuumu's Ghostblade for the mobility on the map. With the power of this item, you'll be allowed to just traverse the map super fast, especially since you already have boots. For your second item, it's going to be Black Cleaver for the ability haste and the bonus damage. Now comes the real kicker that many people have no idea about. Since you're running Black Cleaver, which offers you a lot of health and ability haste and attack damage, you'll go for Starrick's Gauge now. This item will provide you with even more health, which then works in unison with your Overgrowth and Black Cleaver to provide you with a bigger shield, which then translates into you being tankier super early on because the enemy just doesn't have enough damage to kill you yet in a reasonable amount of time. After this, it's about getting Percentage Pen, which is most of the time Mortal Reminder because you want the anti-healing, and then it's about a situational item, which often enough will be Guardian Angel, but in other situations when you're facing full AP damage comms, is Spirit Visage, or if it's heavily mixed damage, just go for Amaranth Twin Guard. For your enchantments, it's Quicksilver or Stasis, depending on what you face obviously. For your runes, it's First Strike or Conqueror, Gathering Storm, Giant Slayer, Bloodline, and Overgrowth. You're stacking so much health and you're so strong as you scale throughout the game that you become an actual tank that deals damage like an absolute carry. It's so hard to die with this pick. Many of you have seen Fiora rise in priority and just being overall a super strong pick, right? Her first ability resetting on a tower and dealing damage to it is quite insane for a split push power. However, it also creates one problem, which is mana. But let's walk you through the build. For your first item, you can debate going for Gluttonous Greaves for mobility and even extra healing and AD because you have such good AD ratio on your passive. And the Omnivamp will help you even heal more with your true damage. After this, it's time to get Divine Sunder up. So much, it's pretty much the normal build, right? And now we come for the special one, it's Manamune. Now you really want to get your Manamune stacking because you really need the mana. It's going to help you deal so much more damage because it applies on spells and on hit, and you have quite a few auto-attack resets. The only downside about this one is that at this point you are quite squishy and might not be able to 1v2. However, upon completing the Hullbreaker, this one is a thing of the past. Upon getting Hullbreaker and then going into Steric's Gauge, people cannot really kill you anymore, and for your last item you want a resistance item, be it Guardian Angel, or yet again a Spirit Visage, or maybe even an Amethyst Twin Guard, doesn't really matter. And as for your enchantments, it's either the Stasis or the Protobelt to quickly proc your ultimate ability. When it comes to runes though, we are running with Conqueror, Brutal, Giant Slayer, Bloodline and Overgrowth. Depending on the matchup, you can even think about a full resolve first tree, which then is going to be Nullifying Orb, Second Wind, Overgrowth, and then for your second tree you can think about Bloodline or Giant Slayer. It really depends on what you're facing. But with the power of this champion, especially after you've scaled, you can take down a Garen or anything in your way, even an Ornn, in an instant, even under a tower. It doesn't really matter anymore because you literally one-tap them if you do it right. You can even be a little bit smarter by proccing your first passive on the enemy to then instantly ult to proc a second vital on the same spot to get one extra, literally for free. For my next build, I'm trying something unconventional, and I'm trying many things recently, and one of these things is a Bloodthirster Rush on many AD carries in combination with Gluttonous Grease and Bloodline, but that's something I'll talk about a little bit later in another video. But here we'll talk about Zarya. You'll start with the Gluttonous Grease as they grant you a lot of AD and Vamp, right? And after this, you'll instantly go for Infinity Edge because you have access to the BF Sword, which in combination with the Gluttonous Grease is not even 2,900 gold, or rather it's exactly 2,900 gold, but you get the idea. It's a lot of AD, which is 75 AD on 2,900 gold. After this, you will instantly complete the Infinity Edge and then go for a Sense Reaver, because you want the mana and you'll use your Steroid, your attack speed start of your second ability, in combination with Lethal Tempo to have enough attack speed to take people down. After this, you'll go for Bloodthirster because in your build you will not be running Shield Bow. After this, you'll be going for Lord Dominik's Regards, for the armor pen obviously. As for your last item, here you can make a decision. What do you need and what do you want? Be it Guardian Angel, or go for 125% crit, which will not even matter anymore, but then have the Shield Bow passive available to make you even tankier. It really depends on what you want, and it's just situational. As for your enchantments, it's Stasis or Quicksilver, and as for your runes, it's Lethal Tempo, Brutal, Giant Slayer, Bloodline, and Overgrowth. And you can probably guess how broken this rune is if I'm running it on basically everything I play. Our last build for this video is going to be a support build, and we have a Nautilus here. We'll start with the Relic Shield, the best support item and theoretically speaking, the only support item you should ever buy on any champion. For your first item, you're going to rush Lucidity Boots. You want ability haste and mobility on the map in combination with your Pathfinder rune. Alongside this, thanks to the changes from Ride to the support item, you'll fully stack your Relic Shield at 4 minutes or 4 minutes and 15 seconds. And with Lucidity Boots having health now, you can get your Warmocks earlier and the effect even earlier on top. Therefore, you'll gain a lot of extra bonus health, which then makes your next item, the Protector's Vow, even more potent in a sense of protecting your allies. Once that's done, you need to get some resistances, which is probably going to be Amethyst Twin Guard into most of the enemy champions, unless you're focusing or facing a certain type of damage. If you need anti-healing, you can obviously also go for Bramble or Thornmail. As for your enchantments, it's going to be Locket or Stasis. And before I forget it, for your runes you'll go Glacial Augment, Nullifying Orb, Second Wind, Overgrowth, and obviously Pathfinder. Once you're in the river, and you should there be quite often, you're running like Usain Bolt. You're literally speedrunning to any other lane and get people killed. And you'll regen so much, it's crazy. And you don't have mana problems anymore thanks to this rune. Yeah, and that basically sums up today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you liked it, and I hope you found the code we've hidden in this video. If you didn't, well, you better look again and find it, and be fast before someone else finds it. If you liked the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and obviously leave a comment for the algorithm, or join and become a member for as little as not even $1 to get cute emotes and everything RiftGuides. Thanks again, and maybe you catch me live streaming as well. Anyway, see you.